Hey guys, it's Libby. Welcome back to my channel, or hi if you're new. Today I'm going to be doing my best books of 2020. I have 10. Um, Most of these I don't have because they were library books. So I'll insert a picture if I can figure out how on one of the sides. But I have 10 books that I want to talk about today. Most of them are very tricky to describe, but I will link the Goodreads group for all of these down below. I've read a lot of adult fantasy this year, and that is most of these books. So, the first two books I want to mention are part of a series, and it's The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I read The Poppy War and The Dragon Republic this year, and gave both of those 5 stars. I've really enjoyed them. I have not yet gotten to The Burning God, but I hope to get to that in January. But I really enjoyed this series. It's a military based strategy, and our main character, Ren, she does not want to get married, and her foster family is forcing her to basically marry an old man, and she does not want that. So she studies for this high end test in this world, and she studies for it, and she goes and takes it, and her foster mother made her a deal. If you don't pass the test, you come back and get married. Um, So she ends up taking the deal with her foster mother, and little does she know, she ends up passing the test and goes to military school. So in this school, it's only a few people get accepted each year, and the group that was the first years with her, she becomes friends with Katie. He's a know-it-all, but very interesting character. So stuff starts to happen, and she realizes she has this magical ability that she had no idea she had. So she's training to learn to control it, and then another Poppy War breaks out, and the first years go off with everybody else to fight in this war. That's basically the concept. I really enjoyed it. Our main character is sassy, stubborn, and most of the time she actually knows what she's doing. So, if you guys haven't read this series yet, I highly recommend. I can't talk about the Dragon Republic because it'll spoil the Poppy War. So, there's that. The next two are a part of the series, and that is The City of Brass and The Kingdom of Copper by S.J. Chakraborty. And this one's a little harder to explain what it's about, but the magic system in here is insane. It revolves around the 4 elements, and that's basically all you need to know. But um, I will definitely link those books down below so you guys can get more in depth of what they're about. So, um, the next book I actually have on me, and that is, I think, one of the first adult fantasies I've read this year. So, which is the Poppy War by Samantha Shannon. You never think this would be a favorite, but it is. It is. It's huge. This follows our main character. It's been so long I don't remember her name. This would be Ed. I don't know. This follows a multitude of characters, but I can't remember who our main character is. Tan, I want to say, is our main character. And this is divided by east and west and north and south. So divided by the hemispheres, and there's courts. So um, this definitely high adult fantasy. There's politics. There's all sorts of stuff. There is definitely a female-female relationship in here, and it's also about dragons. So you don't find a book very often about dragons. So the politics, though, are insane. You learn a lot about the world. The world building is also, our character development in here is right on point as well. So we grow with each character you meet, and there are a lot of them. So if you're starting off with high fantasy, this is not for you. But other books would be for you, just not this one. So I definitely enjoyed this one. I gave it a 5 stars. So there's that one. The next one I don't have with me. It's a YA historical fiction, and it is The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. This one follows pretty much Mozart, but not mainly necessarily about him, but more of his sister, which we don't learn about in history. We only learn about Mozart. So this book follows his sister, and she and her brother end up creating this magical world when they were younger called the Kingdom of Back. And in that world, everything is upside down. And in that world, his sister, Mozart's sister, is able to, I can't remember her name to save my life, able to compose music if that's what she wants to do. But in society where she is in England in the 1800s is a big no-no. So when Mozart starts learning to play the piano, he creates his own piece, but in technicality, it's his sister's. It's his sister who composed it, and his father wrote down his son's name and not his daughter's name. So revolves around sibling relationship and what she wants to do versus those she can't do. So yeah, it's actually really good. I gave that one 5 stars. You definitely learn a lot about music and the society in 1800s in England at that time. So, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. The next book I have to talk about is one is going to be on mainly, I want to say, a lot of people's top favorites of 2020. And when I read it back when it came out, I think around March, I want to say I really enjoyed it. And that is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas. This is her adult fantasy. This follows our main character, Bryce, as she goes home one day and finds her best friend and that whole wolf pack murdered. And she wants to find out who murdered them. And that's the beginning of it. And then she ends up meeting an archangel named Hunt, who is on the kind of like the police force in this world, but they end up teaming up and finding out who murdered this wolf pack and their leader. And it takes, he's a fallen angel, now enslaved to the archangels he once attended to overthrow. attempt to overthrow. They, when Bryce and Hunt start to dig deep into Crescent City, they find things that were kept hidden, and they unravel everything. And it's definitely a slow burn romance. So Bryce is a um I can't remember what she is, but she's half and half of something. So, but no, I really enjoyed this. I gave this 5 stars. So, yeah, is that one. The next one is Atlantis by Brandon Sanderson. This is a high fantasy, and it revolves around the city of Atlantis. Basically, this city is kind of like Atlantis when it's not been discovered in so many years, people trying to discover it, that sort of thing. But I will definitely link the Goodreads page down below. It's definitely hard to describe because there's a lot going on. So I gave that 5 stars. The next 2 books, no, I gave that one 4.5 stars. The next book is, it's over here. I just finished this recently, and I'm surprised that I enjoyed it so much. So, and that is Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. This is his sci-fi novel. It's a YA sci-fi following our main character, Spinda, who wants to clear her father's name after he is labeled a coward as he flees a battle that happened many years before at the beginning of the book. Now, following years later, Spin is grown a little bit more, and she wants to take this test to be a pilot just like her father so she can redeem his name and the family name. So once she gets there, one of her father's old flight crew kind of gets her in, but it's not easy for her. She has to do everything backwards than the rest of her flight crew. So Spin finds things that were hidden deep. So even though she thinks everyone thinks her father is a traitor, not a traitor, but a coward, Spin actually finds out the truth. So, and then she finds out something that she can do with the coral, basically the enemy for them. And so, I really enjoyed this. It's really good. 4.5 out of 5 stars. I want to get the second one soon. The last book I have is The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. I finished with that and The Damned this year. I really enjoyed them. I believe it's a duology. So this follows our main character as she's trying to start a new life for herself. Her and one of her friends flee their homeland in Paris and go to England to find a new life. So start over basically. And then stuff starts to happening when they get to the, oh no, not England, New Orleans, sorry. And this is set in 1872, so it's basically a historical fiction. And it's by, it's basically the City of Dead, New Orleans. She starts over as a dressmaker in New Orleans, and then stuff starts happening. Bodies start to pop up out of nowhere, and then other stuff starts happening. So Celine takes matters into her own hands and finds out what's going on, what's happening, and she's also a dressmaker. So she's a dressmaker. She was a dressmaker in Paris. So, but she wants to basically put the concept of it. Celine and New Orleans become dripped by the terror of a serial killer on the loose. So Celine has set her sights when a young man comes in and he's not who he seems. So she starts falling for him. So it's definitely a romance, but it's actually really good. It's a mystery, thriller, historical fiction. I really enjoyed this and the second one. So if you haven't read these yet, I would highly recommend. So out of all the books I've read, I think my favorite is most likely House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J. Maas and The Beautiful by Renee Ahdieh. So that's all I have for today's video. Let me know down below what your top favorites of 2020 are. I would love to know. And like and subscribe this video. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.